mostly around community. I'm going to show you and take you around in pharmacy, into the pharmacy as well, and see and show you the process and procedures and why they are and how we put patient in the center of care. Everything that we do, everything that we are going to look in this video and moving forward, always have a patient as the center of our care. So that's the main objective of what we, all the education, all the studying that we do in pharmacy. That's what we are here for. We have to share our knowledge and for the betterment of the care. So you all know I'm working in a pharmacy, but let me start my journey where I am now at the minute. Let's have some relevance of what we are going to look and see moving forward. So I live and work in Cambridge County. Basically, I live here. So you all know Cambridge more or less. I think you all heard the name. It's famous for its universities, and it's been here for ages. It's a university is built around 12th century. Most interesting thing is mostly you build a city and then you have a university built in, but Cambridge is a unique where university was built in first and then the whole city has developed around it. It's so you can see the lush green backgrounds, and you have this beautiful botanical gardens around, and it's filled with students, buzzing with student life, and you have great countrysides to walk around. So this all, what I want to tell you is get a perspective of the place where you are. And students, there are a number of great scientists who come out of these universities, right from centuries, from 16th century and a lot more. And a lot of people like royals or anyone, they all been studying here as well. You see this backwaters, shallow backwaters, punting, and where tourists go around, we are moving around the city. And most of those punters who are punting, they're all students doing the part-time job, explaining the tourists how the city is and what are the great museums and buildings, what their history behind it. So everything is around students here. Everything is built around students, and students run this city, to be honest. So biomedical science parks, there is a massive facility here, cutting edge technology about human clinical trials, and like facilities working to developing new drugs against rare human diseases and conditions. You'll find nearly 2,000 research facilities here. Fantastic research, and all around you can see those royal studying here. So the new one was Prince William's, who recently got graduated as well, and kids and old people from 6 years to 60 years. You see everyone on bikes. That's why no wonder it's called Britain's cycle capital. Most of them commute on bikes everywhere, good for environment, good for their health. Kids and students from all over the world, from nearly 60 to 70 nations come here. If you are living and working in Cambridge, you will be in your lifetime, you can easily come around 60 different languages to 60 different national countries. And as a student, you always want to know how the nightlife would be. It's good, fantastic. City never sleeps, so you will have a safe and an enjoyable moments all the time. You might have seen most of these faces, I guess, or if not, at least know by names. There are many top scientists who came out of Cambridge. Just to name few, might be not recognize them by face, but once I show you, I guess you all know him, Sir Isaac Newton. Yes, Newton Law is one of the graduate of Cambridge. This gentleman here, anyone, any guesses?
We can't go wrong with that. Beard should be.
Of course, yes, Charles Darwin, great biologist, science of evolution.
Yeah.
This always brings to my mind a picture of the ape and they're turning into human, you know, the evolution thing. So
yeah,
great, amazing people, what they have contributed to the world. Francis Crick, DNA double helix, yes, along with James Watson. This gentleman here, James Chadwick, the physicist, discovered neutron. Of course, Americans has used it to make a nuclear bomb later, but there you go. What you use science for, it's up to you. But yeah, so as you can see, they're all from different fields, different backgrounds. That's what a university should be. It should be unique. It should not just for one research department. It's just every department has its own specialty, how it brings out people. Stephen Hawkins, this gentleman thought, most of them thought he would die in 22 years, but he lived on 55. I think he's unfortunately passed away in 2019. It's about general relativity, quantum gravity. And this gentleman here, Sir David Attenborough. He's a natural historian and a broadcaster. I might wonder, I mean, you might have seen him on video, like a documentaries like Planet Earth, Blue Planet, Animal Planet. He's got loads of documentaries. You can Google him and you can get his videos. Amazing guy. Great videos, what he goes, the extent he goes, it's amazing. So why I'm telling you this, what's got to do with this today's talk, you might be wondering. This is what a university does. As students, you guys are not just exposed to your daily books, daily practicals and exams. You have to be exposed to all sorts. That's when the interaction, that's the when you're exposed to outside world, that's when it brings best out of you. And if you want to dream and get big, you never know which dream you want to follow. So it's a job of university to expose you to outside world. So you dream for it, you aspire for it, and you chase your dreams. And what your management is doing at this moment, arranging these talks from all these speakers across different fields, different backgrounds, across the continents, and you guys getting the first-hand experience from us to see what exactly it takes to get here, to work here, and to see the practice here is amazing. And you now can plan. It could be here. You guys have an MBA background with pharmacy. You can be entrepreneur in India itself. You can take the best across the world and implement those. Why not? You start. You make the change. So I really appreciate what NMIMS university is doing and the college is offering. Is no less than what is being done by universities here. So imagine, let's go for a journey. Now imagine you guys in down the line, 2 to 3 years, you will be a graduate in pharmacy. So what your ambitions are? What are your goals? What do you want to be? Obviously, first thing first, successfully complete your graduation, right? And then apply for higher education maybe if you want to, or if you have a better idea, you can go for your own entrepreneur business thing. Higher education, earn a high paid job. Yes, everyone dreams for that, right? And progress in your career. Maybe aim one day to sack your boss. So there's nothing wrong in it. And settle with your family. So that's the basic goals and ambition for anyone to move forward, to progress. So what you want to come to UK? What has got UK to offer? What's the pharmaceutical sector looks like? Pharmaceutical sector is one of the biggest in UK, and it contributes to 84 billions of UK pounds to UK's GDP. And the beauty of here is they invest a lot of money into research. Nearly 10 billion of it going to R&D every year, which is one of the highest in Europe and probably third, followed by US and Japan. That's the quality of research and reputation that they have on by the companies which hold here in UK because of the guidelines and ethical practice. 1 in 5 of the world's biggest selling prescription drugs are developed in UK. Big companies, obviously it's a home for big companies like GSK, AstraZeneca, followed by other foreign companies which have sister companies here like Pfizer, Novartis, Roche. Eli Lilly, you name many.
But did Brexit had any impact on this pharmaceutical industry?
Brexit, I think Brexit will bring an impact because at the minute the research is done in EU and in UK in collaboration, but the focus will be now for spending of funding, how this funding is going to be spent across the continent that's a challenge, which obviously politicians are working through. But these companies being mostly private, they rely on funding for projects from Europe. But if you have a solid case to fight for, always funding will look and search for you rather than you look for funding. So UK as of such, because of its cutting edge technology and big education pool and quality education, I don't think it's much worried about funding, because if somebody needs and want that novel drug, they will come after you. So by all means, yes, there will be some impact, obviously. But yes, moving forward, pharmacy graduation. Right, if you are let's say in the part of our journey, now you are graduated from NMIMS with flying colors, and you want to pursue your career as a graduate in UK. And you want to do masters in pharmaceutical analysis.
So just to mention, Kishore, all these guys will be coming out as a MBA graduates.
Of
So
course.
they will be having a B.Pharm plus MBA degree.
Yes. So I keeping that in perspective, I'll come to that point later. Thank you. Thanks for mentioning that, Lakshman. And also, obviously, having this being a talk, I don't mind any of you, students or faculty, please interrupt me, ask me. Let's get it as a talk rather than me talking to this laptop. So I don't mind. No question is a silly question. Please feel free to ask me, interrupt me. I'm more than happy. I know we have a question hour later, but I'm more than happy to answer at any point. So let's, in this perspective of masters, what I listed here, we have pharmaceutical analysis, technology, and drug affairs and statistical analysis. So pharmaceutical analysis, say if you've done a master's in pharmaceutical analysis in any of the universities which you pick, you might be having a job opportunities in industries, in research laboratories, or maybe in academic areas like universities, where you might be testing drugs for their quality and safety, product development. If you go to pharmaceutical technology and pharmacology, you might be working in industries in new formulation, drug development, maybe in a biotech company, or maybe you might be developing a vaccine, like they're doing it now for COVID. You might have another situation where you might be working on different vaccines, you know. This is all if you do a pharmaceutical technology or biotechnology or pharmacology, any of those. And drug affairs. Drug affairs is another area where you can look for the courses that are offered for masters, which most people are not aware of, but it is a big industry. Regulations, drug affairs, designing and policy making, working in government companies like MHRA, Medicines Health Regulatory Authority, which give you license for every drug that's manufactured and has to come to UK. It has to go through MHRA. So you can work in there. And if you're working in a data masters in statistical analysis of clinical data, nowadays data is everywhere, loads of data. So if you're doing research, there's piles and piles of it. And you need someone who is from medical background to assess and rule out the unnecessary data and pick the right relevant data and make it concise and more relevant for the people who want to read it for the later or want to look at it. So that's something where you can work as well. These are different fields where you, after your graduation, if you want to do masters, that's what you can pursue and go into other areas. But if you want to be a pharmacist, that's another area where you have to do slightly different to what you have to do for masters in the areas I mentioned before. To be as a registered pharmacist, while you are still in India, you need to first clear your IELTS. I think you all have heard of it. It's an English exam where they test you on your speaking, listening, writing, and all these skills. You need to get 7 in each band out of 9, all the 4 of them. So once you get that, you then can apply to one of the universities. There are only 4 or 5 hand-picked universities offer this course, which is called Overseas Pharmacist Assessment Program. Because we are not from UK, anyone coming from any part of the world, they have to go through this process. No matter they're coming from America, they're coming from Australia or Canada or rest of the EU, they have to go through this process. So they have to apply for this 1-year course in those selected universities. Having you got your band 7 in each of the IELTS, you do 1 year of that course. End of that year, you sit for an exam. If you have successfully passed in that exam, you will need to then apply for 1 year mandatory practical training. And this training has to be done with one of the employer, one of the pharmacy. So that pharmacy will offer you a work permit. So now you will be doing and learning, working and learning. So you are paid during this time and they have to do your work permit. So after 1 year, you will be sitting for a pre-registration exam. So if you have successfully passed in that exam, then you will be registered as a pharmacist with one of the societies, which is the Royal Pharmaceutical Society of Great Britain and also General Pharmaceutical Council. So now you are a registered pharmacist. You can work in any of those fields I mentioned on the right side, which is hospital and all those stuff. But every year you need to mandatorily re-register with your society. That means you have to pay your fee every year and re-register. But paying the fee doesn't give you honor of registering for free, for nothing. You need to prove that every year you are updating your knowledge. You can't just sit and say that I'm a pharmacist, that's it, that's done. I don't have to read and know any of the new upcoming drugs, new policies that's coming in, new practice that's coming in, new way, because policies and practice change. Say like a situation like pandemic, now the practice procedures change. You need to be up to date. You need to be up to date with the new drugs that's coming in, new side effects that are showing up in other drugs. And so you need to prove this. So you need to present at least 9 of those CPDs to the society saying like, look, this is what I've learned. And everything that you learn or read should make a change and effect for the betterment of the care for the patient. Because as I said in the beginning, remember, everything is around a patient care. So whatever you do is the final outcome in the betterment of the patient. It could be anything, even a new software that you install in your pharmacy that making the process better and smooth and fast, and that will in return affect the better care of the patient. That could be one of your CPD. So don't just think that CPD is just to sit and read some big book or literature that will make you better. No, CPD could be training your staff, making your staff more efficient, or the staff asking the right questions before they even supply any medicines over the counter. So this is all part of your CPD. Anything could be a CPD. So learning is a continuous process. You can't stop learning. Well, if you stop, you're out of the game. So what are the options? You being as a pharmacist, community pharmacist, you can work in any community pharmacy. I will go in depth about that later. Hospital pharmacy. So every hospital will have a pharmacist in each ward. Say you're working in a cardiac ward, endocrine ward, or say geriatric or pediatric ward. Every ward will have a pharmacist, and they will look after all the key medications we are getting prescribed. Are they right? The dose, for the age, for the weight, for their condition. So everything is rechecked by a pharmacist. Healthcare center pharmacist, every area here has got a healthcare, like every sector, every area should be self-sustained. So that's how the model here is. So say you're, for example, you're in Banjara Hills, Jubilees, wherever. So you will have a health center in that area. and you will have a group of doctors in that health center. In that group of doctors, among them, there will be a pharmacist. What's the role of this pharmacist? So this pharmacist will be like a medicines management, because doctors can prescribe a drug. They know which medication to give, but they don't know 9 out of 10 what are the other new alternate medications that come in, which are, say, equally effective, clinically effective, but cost effective as well at the same time. They wouldn't know until you tell them that, look, there is a generic alternate available, which is cheaper, but clinically equally effective. So why not prescribe that? Or a patient might be struggling with inhaler, but doctor know which inhaler to give, but don't know how the inhaler look like, how the inhaler need to be taken. He's not physically trained how the inhaler, and what are the inhaler options and how the inhaler looks. But you as a pharmacist, you know better how practically that would work for the patients. So that's where you come in. So a healthcare center pharmacist, prescribing pharmacist. You can also be a prescribing pharmacist. So I am. I'm also a prescribing pharmacist in my own area. So you do an additional course and you are capable of prescribing in your own area of expertise. So my area is respiratory, so I can prescribe inhalers or any of those things in my area of expertise. So you could be that as a prescribing pharmacist or independent pharmacist, and you can add on as many prescribing based on your capabilities and interest, and you could do the same as what doctors does. And NHS clinical pharmacist, NHS is a National Health Service here, which is free for everyone. And you can also work in Department of Health, creating the guidelines, looking after the guidelines. Say like in a situation of pandemic now for COVID, they have made up various regulations, how a pharmacy can help the society in this time of difficult times. At the same time, how to protect staff and employees working in pharmacy, and at the same time protect the people and public, how to advise, all these guidelines are developed by Department of Health. And you can work, as I said, in health regulatory affairs. So all these fields where you can work as a registered pharmacist. As I said before, my main focus would be now on community pharmacy. I'll take you through a small journey. So imagine you are a pharmacist now. You're qualified in UK. Yes, you've gone through all the process. Now you're a community pharmacy. This is what a community pharmacy in general might look like. It's one of the models, okay? So you have 3 sections. OTC, over the counter, which is what a customer can pick and choose. And there's a counter, behind the counter, where you see that medicine, that's a P medicines, that's a pharmacy medicines. That means those medicines are of a bit higher strength, like even they can have a headache tablet, but they might be higher strength, which need an additional advice. So customers can't just pick and go. They need to answer a set of questions. They need to go through that. After that, a pharmacist is happy, then the prescription is given. Not a prescription, over-the-counter medication is given. You can buy them. The next section is POM, prescription-only medication. So for that, you need a prescription. You can't buy them. You need a prescription for them. So there's 3 layers. So if you're buying a general paracetamol, it could be an over-the-counter where they can pick and choose. But again, the quantity of paracetamol, if it goes over 32, it becomes P, where we need to ask them, intervene. Why do you need so many? We need to ask, is it right for them? So all those questions will come later. So that's other services that pharmacists normally offer: health checks, cholesterols, diabetes check, blood pressure checkup, travel health services, smoking advice, which I will go through in detail, and a pharmacist notice has to be displayed. As you see, there's another pharmacy here, and where you can see the counter and how it's differentiated. And every pharmacy need to have a consultation room, because reviewing the medicines, speaking to the customers is one of the main thing, and that has to be done in the consultation room where needed, because confidentiality is a priority, so people don't overhear what we are talking. So every pharmacy need to have one. Over the counter, as I said, we can't just give, we can't assume that medication is right. Say for all good reasons, you've been there to the pharmacy, you want to buy a cough medicine for your granddad. You just go to the pharmacy and ask for it. But is this right for him? We need to ask, is this for you or for your granddad? Okay, what other medication? Normally older people take other medication. Does it interact with those medicines? We have to check that. And being an old person, is he a diabetic or any other condition? So because most of the cough syrups might have sugar, so you might need a sugar-free cough syrup. Or even like most of the cough syrups have got antihistamine added to it, which might cause like drowsiness. But is it right? Him being old, there's a high possibility of trips and falls, because if they wake up in middle of night, want to go for toilet, because you gave him a drowsy medication, that might make him drowsy and fall down. That might cause further problems. Actually, the cough, you're trying to treat the cough, which was with good intention, but if you don't ask all these questions, that might be fatal. So you need to ask right questions, and those questions need to be open. You can't just ask, do you take medication? The answer could be yes or no. That could be a closed question. That doesn't help you. You need to ask, what do you take? What medication do you take? When do you take it? So what, when, how? Those open questions need to be asked so you get clear information. Please watch this video to get a small gist of it.
It's always good to practice the WHAM process. Who are we talking about here? Who's got the symptoms? What are those symptoms? How long have the symptoms been present? Any action that's already been taken for their symptoms? And finally, of course, very importantly, M, which includes both medicine, any medicines which might have an impact on treatments you give, and medical conditions that might affect your advice. You should ask your customer whether they have.
Okay.
I think it's a streaming issue.
Lakshman, is it okay? Is it stop?
Yeah, it's struggling to stream. So I think you can pause it and you can try to play again from this same place.
Dry or a productive cough, you may find it easier to use terms like tickly or bringing up sputum, bringing up phlegm, which customers might find easier to understand. Do they have any dietary requirements? For instance, do they need a sugar-free version or an alcohol-free version? And would they also like something specifically tailored to help them get a good night's sleep? Remember, self-pity doesn't help anyone.
So, as you can see, those questions are very important when we ask. So, that's a pharmacy, how it looks like, having a normal seating area for all the customers.
Is that your pharmacy?
It is one of the pharmacies in our region, yes. Okay. So that's having colleagues that's working during COVID season, having visors and masks and gloves. So yeah, as you can see, they're all different setup, different layouts, but they all have the same guidelines to follow. They have over the counter and P medicines and consultation rooms and where consultation takes place. So let me take through a journey of the prescription. So now you are the pharmacist, you're a qualified pharmacist. You're working in a pharmacy, how the prescription is generated. So every patient has to register themselves with doctors as a health center, which I explained before. Yeah, you would register with the doctors, and you also nominate a pharmacy where you want your prescription to go. It could be your next door, or where it could be next place where you work, whichever is convenient for you. It's up to you. So you nominate that pharmacy. So a doctor sends your prescription. If you've been to the doctor, he says, okay, I've sent your prescription now to your nominated pharmacy, go and collect it. So you go to that nominated pharmacy. Then the prescription comes electronically like an email, and we download it and get it printed. And once it's printed, the prescription is processed, pharmacist checks it, and then it goes out to the patient with the right advice if needed, if given at that point. Or if you are not there, if it's a repeat prescription, say some people say you're on a levothyroxine and blood pressure tablets or for diabetes or whatever, which is an ongoing prescription and there's nothing to review, and the doctors normally review in every 6 months or 1 year until there is a problem unless. But in that case, that's a repeat. it's a refill. It will automatically, every month, a prescription will be sent to the pharmacy. And then in that case, the patient will get a text saying, look, your prescription is ready now, ready for collection. Then they come and collect it. So let me show you next slide where how a prescription is processed. So we are in a stage where doctor has sent us a prescription now. So we are in a pharmacy, and here Matthew, who is one of our colleagues as a technician working in one of the farms, he volunteered to show us some of the processing procedures. He thought he would be a Bollywood actor, but he tried his best anyway. Let's see.
Yes, it's a typical day in a pharmacy where in the morning we received a prescription, and Matthew here has downloaded electronic prescription and is trying to dispense. So he takes an electronic copy and scans the barcode, and the system will automatically pick the item, and now he will dispense through. This is all to ensure the right patient and right details are picked and right medication is dispensed to avoid any errors. I'm trying to be as far as possible to protect the data protection and confidentiality of the patients. So each item is picked accordingly, and once the item is selected, make sure it's the right item comprising to the right patient, and it's checked in the basket. And the system will generate an automatic label with their name and drug details and the dosage.
So you have seen at that stage where label has been generated, prescription has been processed, all the information of the patient and the drug information, everything has been entered onto the system. It is mandatory. You need to hold the history. So it goes, as you can see, they all have a smart card. Every pharmacy colleague and pharmacist will have a smart card. This smart card will give you an access to all the information for the patient. Only the people working in and who are qualified will have that information. And pharmacist will have an extra information where I can log into the patient records and look into the history and see if they suffer with any allergies, say if the penicillin allergic, and if an antibiotic has been prescribed, amoxicillin or flucloxacin has been prescribed, is it right for them because they are penicillin allergy? Has doctor seen it? Does doctor know? If so, then we need to call doctor and intervene and say, look, you have given something to this patient which he is allergic to. So now the labels are ready. So let's see how a dispensing process is done. And how a pharmacist checks the medication. Okay.
So Matthew now has generated the labels for the prescription, and now he wants to dispense them. So he picks each item and make sure each item is what that says on the prescription. He checks by name of the patient.
Sorry to interrupt you. Here, Matthew is trying to dispense them against the prescription. And you can see there is a designated area for everything. There's a dispensing area, there should be a checking area. Whatever you do, there should be a designated area. And that area has to be clutter-free and should only have the relevant information that's needed for the job to be done. So there is no errors and no mismatch, or nothing has to happen at any point. So
address, name of the drug, strength, quantity, expiry date. Then if he's satisfied that everything is right, then he sticks a label on and then signs saying that it has been checked against the prescription. So now Matthew has dispensed all the items on the prescription, and he has placed them all in the basket for the pharmacist to check. And if there is any item which needs extra attention by the pharmacist because of their high incidence of errors or because of high risk medication, he will place one of those warning labels in the basket, so it warns the pharmacist to be extra cautious. This is all to bring the safety as priority. Now what we have seen so far was a packs which need to be dispensed in full. Say there is a prescription for 21 tablets. Normally all the packs come in 28, which is a month's supply. Say there's a prescription for 21 tablets. Now Matthew is dispensing a split pack, and this is a procedure to follow where you pick a full pack and take the quantity out of and make sure he gets a carton box. Everything, all the medication need to go in a box. You can't give out loose strips, so it's properly boxed. And item that need to be dispensed need to go through the general process of checking where it's the right item, right strength, and the expiry date is right, which is within the date. So Matt is trying to split the strip to the right quantity. And once the box is split, make sure it crosses it off to tell the next person that this has been split, and so no one uses it by mistake as a full box. Now the split quantity along with the patient information leaflet, which is a legal requirement, goes in the carton box. It's properly sealed, and the expiry date and batch number of the box where the prescription medication came from has to be written on the new box that he is dispensing into. And the label is stuck on the box with the patient name, details, and the drug and the dose that they have to take. Say take 1-3 times a day, along with other instructions and safety precautions to follow. So okay folks, so now we have seen the regular dispensing and also part dispensing of a prescription box. Now say suppose if you got a prescription for antibiotics, for liquid for children, so now Matthew is trying to show us how he dispense liquid antibiotics. So antibiotics, as we all know, mostly they are powdered form in the bottles, so they are ready to be made as the prescription comes in. So he gives a good shake, so there is no powder stuck to the bottle before he dispenses. And antibiotics have to be made when the prescription comes, because they only last for 5 to 7 days once they're made up. So now he's taking a measuring cylinder to measure the liquid out. That's a potable water that need to be measured to the right quantity, which is already mentioned on the bottle of antibiotics. So is make sure the quantity of water is right, and if he's satisfied, he will then add this water to the bottle. So now after the liquid is added to the bottle, give a good shake so there are no lumps, and antibiotics evenly dispersed in the water. And once he's satisfied it's all clear and well mixed, he will check the label and the directions onto the bottle according to the prescription directions. And then this bottle is now ready to go for checking to the pharmacist. So now Matthew has given me a basket which has already been dispensed. So me being a pharmacist, I normally take each item out of the basket and check against the prescription and the item that's been prescribed and the dose that's on the prescription, and if it's the right patient. And clinically, I need to also check if this drug is right for this patient with the right dose, because sometimes the dose of the prescription might be wrong. So in that case, I need to question with the doctor to make sure this is all appropriate. And Matthew has also placed a warning label saying there's to be extra careful with this product, because one of this product could be a product which has been of high incidence of errors. So this warns not just me, but any pharmacist who are working today to make sure it has been dispensed and checked properly. If I am not sure, I would be using one of these information books, which is BNF, British National Formulary. That's for adults and that's for children. So that's a very useful resource which doctors use as well before prescribing. And once I'm satisfied that this medication is all right and the dose and the drug of the prescription, mostly the boxes are sealed. We don't have to check the quantity because these quantities are all pre-done, but some packs do come without a seal. In that case, we need to open them, whether they are split packs or full packs. We need to open them and check whether the quantity is right. Once I'm satisfied, I'm going to bag them in, and then the label is stuck. Each label will have a barcode, and once this is done, these barcodes are scanned. Once the prescription is scanned with the barcode, then each patient will get a text message saying that it is ready for collection. So once they receive the prescription message, then they will come for collection.
Right. Okay. Sorry for the glitch. Right. Now we have seen the process, how the dispensing is done, how pharmacist checks once the dispensing is done, and what different scenarios we have with the full packs, dispensing of tablets, and split packs, and the liquids, how the liquids are made. In olden days, I mean, not too old, but before I started my profession, they used to make up creams, lotions, and potions as well, using pestle and mortar and all that stuff. That's when they used to wear aprons in pharmacies. Obviously, you're making up something, you need to have one. But now we walked away from that culture, and you need to be smart. But obviously, all the staff are dressed up in their uniform, but pharmacists need to be dressed smart. And even the doctors, they don't have to wear aprons of white coat syndrome. But we are not allowed to make any extemporaneous preparations in pharmacies anymore, unfortunately. So that's gone. That's for a reason, because of aseptic conditions. Now all those preparations which need mixing or making up, apart from antibiotics where you're just adding water to it, the rest of them has to be done specials. So if anything that need to be made up that on a named patient basis, like some cancer drugs and some other medication, they have to be specially ordered, and they will be ordered on basis of request, and they will be specially made and then send it through courier to pharmacy. So now prescription is ready. And one thing I just want to clarify is, based on other antibiotics, you can only make antibiotics when the patient comes to the pharmacy for collection. At the point of collection, you make up those antibiotics. You get a prescription, you put it aside until the patient gets to the pharmacy. Because of limited stability, those antibiotics only last for 5 to 10 days mostly. So based on that, you make up as the patient comes in. Now the prescription is ready, it's sitting on the shelf. So now you have sent a text message to the patient saying, hey, your prescription is ready for collection, please come and collect at your convenience. So now the patient has come in to collect his prescription.
So now we are seeing a prescription that's been getting handed out. Customer came in to collect the prescription, and Magda is giving a third check before giving out, though it has been initially checked by Matthew and then a pharmacist and it's bagged. But now a patient has come to collect a prescription, and Magda is giving another check, checking the name, address, dose of the drug, and then she is now going to scan the box of the medication to check if it's not a counterfeit. It's called FMD, that's a Falsified Medicines Directive, which is one of the legislation in Europe that all pharmacies before giving out has to scan it, and then on the machine it comes up as success. That means the product is legit and it's not a counterfeit medication. Once we are satisfied with all these, it's bagged again and handed out to the customer.
So that's now the process of handing out to the customer. So before handing out, that's the main part where you check the legit of the prescription medication, because counterfeit has been a big problem before, but now because of this new directive guidelines, it has ruled out any of this nonsense.
That's a great idea about ability to detect counterfeit medicines. But do you have the ability to do this for split prescriptions also? For those there is no box, or for those, how do you do that?
Very good question, Lakshman. For split boxes, what you do is before you splitting the box, you check whether the box. Yes, before you do, because once you have split the box, while giving out, when you're doing the third check, you wouldn't have the original box. So you do the scanning before you split, and you mention that on the box saying that it's been scanned for authenticity. So you have, normally we have special stickers, you stick it on, that means it's already been checked for the credibility.
And these numbers are secrets, like no one knows it except for the companies.
No, not even company would know. It's a cloud. Whole information is fed into the cloud. So right at the point of manufacturing, once every manufacturer need to provide these codes, and those codes are loaded as a lot, as a big bulk lot, those codes are loaded. And then when it comes to the sub distributor, who's a wholesaler, they need to upload again saying that they have received from X and X supplier, and they are with them. So you can actually track down each and every box that's in the chain, where the box is, right from the manufacturer to the wholesaler, to the pharmacy, and to the patient, where exactly the box has gone.
Okay.
If something is not in this chain of process, then that's not legit. They need to investigate. That's when medicines regulatory people get into action. This is something possible in India as well. Which
we don't have any such system. I think we don't have that system.
See, that's opportunity. There is an opportunity there.
Yeah, exactly.
So we need to look into that. Maybe I need to.
I mean, that's a big opportunity, because I mean, if we give them a tool to check the authenticity of the drug, that would be saving money for the companies. That would be also getting the trust of the people who are using it. So that's definitely is going to be good.
Everyone benefits, apart from those culprits who are making these wrong medication. Everyone benefits. The manufacturer benefits because their product is not misused by a subgraded medication. It's like piracy in movies.
Yeah, piracy.
Same. It's the same concept where your rights and your hard work is protected. Your rightful share of your own medicines. Yeah, someone else is taking the share of you.
Yeah, more than that, the safety. I mean,
safety. Apart from all this, absolutely. On top of this, patient safety. How many people died because of counterfeit or under ineffective, undermined, medication? So this is very important.
Yeah.
Right. So now,
I think Kishore, you have to hurry up. We are
of course
already past.
Yeah. I think we are almost to the end of it. And services, most of the services provided here are in the pharmacy, including blood glucose, diabetes, weight management, smoking. So all these services are provided by most of the pharmacies, like alcohol addiction clinics, travel vaccinations, flu vaccinations, or probably might be COVID vaccination this year as well, if it comes. So this is a small video. I want to just brighten you up, just on a soft corner. We all giving out boxes with instructions, but is the instructions good enough without having a conversation? Do everyone understand what does it mean? So just watch this moment. So I know it's not that great, but it's on a lighter note that instructions doesn't always speak or pass the message. And it's not just the problem in India, it's everywhere. Here you think they're all educated and they're all up to date, but you find so many people who ask you such questions or do things which they shouldn't be doing. And that's where as pharmacists, we come in, because doctors just prescribe and they don't know what they're doing. They expect them to take it, but we are at the point of dispensing, giving it out to customers. Having that right interaction and talking to them is very important. And that's where there's a big gap where we can look into it in India as well. So let me take you through a small review of this patient. This is one of the pharmacists, Sarah. She works in my region, and that's as a customer, and see the interaction, what they're going through, and the points that comes out of that interaction. This is an asthma patient, and they're having a review.
Hi, thanks for coming back. Do you remember me? I'm Vicky, the pharmacist.
Yes, hi.
Yeah. Is it okay if I call you Leslie?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Brilliant. Have you got your inhalers with you?
I do, yeah, some work.
It was one of them that was new, wasn't it?
Yes, it was that one, the
brown one. And have you had the chance to start taking that one as
I have, yeah.
And how are you getting on with it?
Fine, I think, yeah. I had a little bit of a problem at first because the shape of the mouthpiece is slightly different, but I think I've got used to it now. I mean, I don't honestly feel, any better. I've not felt a huge difference, but I wasn't sure if that could be my fault because I do occasionally forget to use it.
Okay. So the only problem really that you've had is changing mouthpiece.
Yes.
And occasionally you may have forgotten to take it.
Yeah.
Which is perfectly normal.
Yeah.
Okay, well hopefully you're getting on okay with that mouthpiece now. And do you think that's something that ongoing will be okay?
Yeah, I think I'm absolutely fine. Could I just ask you, Vicky, I can see you've got a big list of questions there. I'm just a bit worried because I've left my kids in the car with my mum, and they might be wondering where I get to if it's going to take quite a while.
Don't worry, it's only a few minutes.
Right.
As I said, it's just a chat, a conversation.
Right.
This is just really here to remind me in case I've forgotten anything.
Right, okay.
Okay. So you mentioned that you occasionally don't manage to take this twice a day.
Yeah.
Can you think of, how often would you say that's happened?
I think probably in the last couple of weeks there's probably been about 4 or 5 times I've forgotten, and it's always been in the morning time, because the alarm goes off and I'm up and running about straight away trying to get everybody ready and out the house. So
okay, well, it's one where if you can manage to take it morning and night regularly, it is really important because it just helps control the asthma, calm everything down, and it should mean that you need to use this one less.
Right.
If you do manage that twice a day, it really helps get your asthma under control.
Right.
I mean, is there anything perhaps do a little bit different? Anything that you can think so that we can help you remember to take it in the morning?
Well, I had been keeping the inhaler in the bathroom near my toothbrush because I thought that would remind me.
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem to be working. Maybe I need to put it right next to the toothbrush or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Next to the alarm clock. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, on top of the alarm clock would be
That'd
good.
be brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll give it a go and see how you get
I'll
on.
try that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel it's working for you?
Well, as I said before, it's difficult to say. I don't really feel any different. You know, I felt quite well after my 2 weeks off and my course of prednisolone.
Yeah.
And I seem to have stayed like that.
That's good.
You know, I don't really feel any different.
Well, to be honest, it is one where you won't have massive impact when you use the inhaler. You don't get like an instant feeling from taking it. It's just that day in, day out, remembering to take it that just really helps control the asthma.
Right, okay.
So that's quite normal.
I've been managing to do a bit more exercise again, so maybe it is
fantastic.
Beginning to work.
Any side effects or anything?
Not that I've noticed, no. Everything's been fine.
And is there anything else you'd like to ask about or know about?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I'm really glad you're getting on so well with your new inhaler.
Thank you.
One thing I can't help but notice is the cigarettes. Are they yours?
Yes, they are.
As you're probably aware, the cigarettes aren't going to do much to help your asthma. Is that something you'd ever considered reducing or cutting out?
Well, I guess being off work for 2 weeks, I've had a bit of a wake-up call, and I do know I need to give up smoking. It's just, and I keep having a little try, but it's just not so easy.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if you're aware, but if you want any help to give up smoking, you can come into the pharmacy and we can really help support you through that and give you some guidance. So when you feel you're ready, do come in and talk it through with us.
All right, okay. I'll do that.
Okay?
Yeah.
Well, it seems like everything's going okay. So what we really could do with doing now is arranging a way that I can still check that you're doing okay in another couple of weeks.
Right, okay.
That could either be you popping back in for another chat with me here, or I could catch up with you on the telephone and just see if anything else crops up in the next few weeks with your medicines.
Right. I can come back to the pharmacy. It's only around the corner. It's no trouble, really.
Yeah, and it's really nice to speak face to face, isn't
yes,
it?
It
yeah.
is. Yeah.
Well, what I'll do, if you want to speak with Jill, she can book a good time and date in the end for you.
Right.
And we'll see how you're getting on in another few weeks.
Okay then.
All right, that's great.
Thanks.
So that's how the review is conducted mostly, and as you can see, that's a quite good outcome.
How often does this review happen?
And normally we tend to do with every patient at least once every 6 months, 6 to 1 year.
Okay.
And as you can see, the patient was missing doses and she was not rinsing her mouth after each use of steroid inhaler. And she was thinking the inhaler would give her instant relief, which a reliever would do, but a preventer, which is a brown steroid inhaler, they have to take twice a day. And as they continue every day to do it, then they will feel better. But she was thinking that was not helping because she was not taking every day. And smoking was something that come into the subject, which doesn't help with if they are asthmatic. So these things wouldn't come up if you don't talk to them. If you just give out medication, all this doesn't help for the patient care and exercise and all this stuff. So the review is a key for us. And moving forward, that's where the NHS and everyone want to focus. As a pharmacist, our knowledge they want to share with the customers and patients who put them in the center. Rather than us checking and dispensing, they want that to be done by robotic dispensing, and they want us to be in the center, in the forefront, giving advice and taking the reviews and prescribing. So that's all from me regarding profession and how it goes on. Any questions for you from you all?
That was a wonderful gist of the entire profession. I think among all those presentations we had from the pharmacists, this one actually shows the true colors of the profession. And I'm sure all these steps are not followed in India, but then again, India has its own limitations. But then let us wait and see if students have any questions to ask. Yeah, students, feel free to ask your questions, ask your doubts related to the profession or anything else you think Kishore can answer.
Yes, sir, can I go?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Please.
Well, good afternoon, Mr. Kishore. My name is Savan.
Afternoon.
I'm a B.Pharm second year student. Sir, my question is that, in terms of the uniqueness in the pharmacy practice in UK and when compared to India, I mean, what changes or in the Indian system, in the Indian system, what changes could be made in order to cultivate such practices of United Kingdom?
Of course, I mean, you need to tell me this more than me. I've shown you what's possible here. So, what can be done? First of all,
I mean, actually,
counterfeit is a big problem. Yes, you
exactly,
understand?
yeah.
You agree? That can be done. We can, as a pharmacist, we can liaise with the government bodies, and if all pharmaceutical companies do want to do it and make it as a law, yes, it is possible. If it can be done somewhere else, it is possible in India as well, right? All
Yeah.
you need is that intention to happen. And next thing, giving the right advice over the counter. We go to the pharmacy. What I personally felt when I was in India, as long as I know, that's my experience. Might be different. It might be some pharmacies now. Multiple chains are coming. Practice is getting bit better. Their pharmacies are looking more professional. I think so. But are they giving the advice? Or you just go and buy a drug? But is it right for them? It's not business. It's not just business. End of the day, we are dealing with someone's life. It could cost someone life. So you have a duty of care toward whatever we do, right? So I feel pharmacy should go in that perspective. Before, I never used to see a pharmacist in a pharmacy. Now, I think in my few other past trips, I have seen pharmacists. There was a pharmacist in the pharmacy. So that's a good step moving forward. But again, the staff need to be trained, not just give out a medication. Because as I said, a small cough medication can lead to a death of someone or fall and trip and breaks, their hips and joints. So it could cost a life. So that's one way we can go forward. Reviews, probably a bit far. We have some time to go for it, but it is possible again. Yeah, why not? If a doctors can do a review, because they feel more approachable. Even here, customers feel more approachable to go to pharmacy and ask something about their problem rather than go to a doctor. They feel that I'm a bit wasting the doctor's time. It's a small cough, a small cold. A pharmacist might give a medication. But at that time, if you really sit and talk them through, explain that each medication, what that does to them, that adds value to you, because people really trust pharmacists in society here and as well. I think it's also in India. You have
They
your
do
local
trust pharmacists.
Yeah, you have your local pharmacy where you tend to go because you know that guy, he knows you by name. He calls you by name and he asks you how you are. So this is what brings you back. So don't you want to really care for them? Of course you do. So there is a lot to do. And also the services like blood pressure checkup, diabetes, it could be anything. All these are possible. Why not? Giving them healthy advice, checking their BMI, how to reduce waste. Why don't you give a healthy weight loss reduction advice? Why they have to look for someone on YouTube who is not even qualified? So why not? So all these are gaps which you can fill. All you need is a will to make it happen.
And patient
Yes, sir.
counseling is really non-existent as far as I think.
In
It's
India, it is
non-existent.
pretty much non-existent. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and
It's
that
okay.
could be something which we can try.
You
We can
just
start from your own
now
families, actually.
that's an opportunity. So don't just look what you have to do. This is all you can do in next 2 to 3 years as a pharmacist. It is possible. It is in your hands. So these talks, that's what the purpose of these are. So for you to give awareness and to bring the difference and the change.
Yeah, so counterfeits and then patient counseling.
Patient
Any other things
counseling.
that came up today in today's discussion that could be done in India or that could be incorporated? I think these are the two main things that caught my attention. I think Shreya has a question next.
Please, Shreya, go on.
Hello, sir. I'm Shreya.
Hello.
I'm
Please
a
don't call me sir. I'm not sorry yet. Probably one day, but call me Kishore. I'm fine. Hi.
So I'm a second year student again. So my question was, how often do you have discussions with doctors, because they are the ones who are prescribing the medications?
Good.
And being doctor, they know more about the body, and as pharmacists, we know about the reactions.
Mm-hmm.
So do you sit with them and interact? Yeah, this is a new drug and you should prescribe it more because it has more effects like that. Because as you said that you have to study also to get
Of
a
course.
proper license the next year. So
Yes.
in that knowledge period, do you sit with them and talk and have a discussion regarding that?
Very good question. Very good question, Shreya. So we do have discussions with doctor on a daily basis. There is no set time for them. Okay, when we get a prescription, if we need an intervention, if I'm not happy, I feel there is something wrong on the prescription that need a doctor intervention, so I call them and speak to them. So this is uh, this is called a multidisciplinary practice. So you need to be in touch with doctors, with the local practice nurses, to local bodies which are offering other services. So you need to know all the multidisciplinary facilities available around you, so you can signpost any patient to any service. So with doctor, we will have monthly reviews. So we sit with doctors, they will have practice meetings. So in that practice meetings, along with as I said, every community will have a healthcare center, and in that healthcare center you will have doctors, right? So that local pharmacists, they will go to that meeting and they will discuss how it can be done better the way we are working at the minute, or say what new drug options are available, okay? And what new prescribing trends that we can follow, or what the problems that customers or patients are facing and how we can work around it to make it better, right? So all this comes into in our meetings, which we discuss based on how it can be done better.
I think next.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Manaswini has a question. She can go.
Yes,
Manaswini, please
thank
go
you.
on.
A very good afternoon, Mr. Kishore. I'm
Good
Manaswini,
afternoon.
second year student. Uh, so I was just curious to know, is there any other reason except for excessive number of innovator companies that the government funds more on the research part for the pharmaceuticals there?
Any specific number?
No, what she meant is that what is the reason why the government of UK is spending more on innovator companies rather than generics? So, with generics you can bring down the
Okay.
price.
Okay.
But then
Yes.
again, why is it? I mean, bringing down price is a big thing for the population. But then why is still government insistent upon funding innovator companies which take up the bulk of the money and the financial resources? So, is there any specific reason you saw there?
Right. Right. So funding, funding is a two different aspects. First, research is very important, right? Research and innovation is very important. We can't just sit and say that, look, we got this drug. This is when a drug becomes generic after 10 years, right? It has got patent rights until during this 10-year time period. You can't come out of it anyway. So they need to pay the royalty. So generics only come after 10 years. So government it's a mandatory wherever a generic option is available, any prescriber has to prescribe the only generic. So while doctor is prescribing on his computer, there is a set formulary. He can't go out of that formulary. Any doctor, he can't go out of that formulary. He has to prescribe the options available in that formulary. So the trend of prescribing is the same across the country. That's how it puts a uniformity. Not like, because in India, everyone is a cell phone, their own prescribing trends, they can prescribe whatever they want. Here you can't. You have to follow stepwise rule. First, they need to use a lower strength of antibiotic or lower strength drug and a generic. Then you can go to a branded one. So government is spending bulk of its money in research and development to get the new medicines out, to get new products out. Always there is a better option, if possible, right? You can't just say this blood pressure has these options and that's it. No, there's always might be a new option which is better than what's the existing one. So innovation is important for us to move forward, and for the companies and for us to practice. We need new things because conditions are always evolving. Diseases are always there. Like who expected 6 months down the line there is a COVID which would bring us all into this difficult circumstances? But for that, if there is no research, So now Oxford say that they are making up a vaccine. If we don't have a strong platforms where they can come into rescue at the time of needs, then we'll be just sitting there making the generics as like any other one. Making generics is not rocket science. Formula is there, anyone can make it. But research is where that shows the capabilities of bringing up new drugs and quality drugs. So that's where the money goes, bulk of it.
Yes, that was wonderful. I think we are closing to 3:30 now. I think we should close it off. But then, yeah,
30 minutes.
I think, yeah. So may I just thank you very much, Kishore. That was a wonderful talk. I mean, the building trust, the profession with the society. This is one way how you can create outreach the society, and let me take this opportunity to thank you. And also, I will let one of the student also present the vote of thanks. And towards the end, yeah, we're moving towards the end now. Yes, please, Savan, can you please present the vote of thanks?
Thank you, sir. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to Mr. Kishore Reddy for taking out time and interacting with us. Sir, it was indeed a pleasure to have you amongst us today. I am sure that each and every one of us has learned from this session, right from the uniqueness of pharmacy practice in the United Kingdom to how and why the United Kingdom government the nation of United Kingdom stands as a home for research and development to the various pharmacy graduate options available there. A heartfelt gratitude towards our director, Dr. Tapan Kumar, and the admin staff. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all the faculty members and students for being a great audience. Special thanks to the technology and GLS committee members, without which this virtual interactive session would not be possible. Last but not the least, sir, we invite you to our massive and beautiful campus when you are present here in India. Thank you once again.
Will do, definitely. Thank you, Sawan, and thank you for all the faculty. Thanks for having me today. I really appreciate. Thanks for your time. I know it's difficult, Saturday afternoon, lunchtime. After lunchtime, it's always difficult.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, we're not done yet, Kishore. As a tradition, we have the habit of handing you the certificate of appreciation.
Oh,
I request Santosha, please make me co-host so that I can share his certificate. Anyway, I'm going to email him, but then again, I would just like to thank him, and also I would like to close it with Dr. Pete's closing remarks. Maybe let me share the screen. Can you all guys see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, Kishore, the certificate of appreciation is for you. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and giving your best. I invite Dr. Pete to present closing remarks, after which we will conclude this session.
Thank you, Dr. Kishore Reddy, for accepting our invitation and briefing us about the pharmacy practice in United Kingdom. We are really honored to have you with us. Thank you very much. And as our student Sawan mentioned, that whenever you will be here in India, please do visit our wonderful campus here at Hyderabad. Once again, thank you very much and take care of yourself.
Thank you. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks to all the students also.
Sir, students, I just want to address students for next 2 minutes.
Okay. All right. So
second year student.
Yeah, second year student
also.
Thank you all. Have a nice time and
yeah, Kishore, we'll meet again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
You too. Have a nice weekend.
So all other second year students and faculty, please stay back.
Santosh sir, I guess streaming can be stopped right now.
Sorry?
Yeah.
I mean, right now live streaming can be